This YouTube video is a continuation of the previous YouTube video in this series. In this excerpt, Kathleen describes how Miss West uses her employees to cover her expenses. Kathleen talks about how she would get a bill for an expense and Cheryl O'Brien, the bookkeeper, would say, "Oh, pay for it with one of your checks and I'll cover it and leave you a check behind." Kathleen goes on to say that if Cheryl did leave checks behind, sometimes they bounce, which meant that her checks bounce because the money wasn't in her personal account to cover the expenses she was paying for Devra West. Kathleen says that she's going after money from Devra West for bank charges. And she also says that she was never paid mileage for the gas, for the wear and tear on her car, for running errands for Miss West. Kathleen goes on to say that Miss West offered her a job up in Flathead Lake, some distance from Victor, Montana, and offered to give her a substantial raise, but that she couldn't bring her children, so Kathleen would have to decide what she was going to do with her children.
Oh yeah, I used my car extensively. I wrote my own personal checks because there was never any checks. Cheryl O'Brien would say, "Oh, I'm leaving, I'll leave you a check. Just write one of your checks." I had checks bounce because their checks to me would not be good. Therefore, it cost my account
money.
Money, yeah. I'm going after that also, my bank fees
Okay.
and the use of my car.
And they wouldn't give you mileage or reimburse for gas?
They never reimbursed my gas. They refused to pay my gas and my mileage.
They asked you to go up to Shambhala.
Yeah, I went up to Shambhala on my own day off.
Okay.
Did not pay my time, did not pay my mileage.
And she wanted you to go and live up there, apparently, with her?
Yes, she stated in front of the real estate agent and Esther Michaels that she would pay for my moving expenses for me to live there and give me a substantial raise to move up.
What about your children?
My feeling was that she did not want me to bring my children.
So you'd effectively leave your children somewhere.
Right. I had to make up my mind on what I was going to do about my children, is what she told me.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's a very odd and sick woman.
Mm-hmm.
Here Kathleen talks about how Miss West every single day calls fights between employees and basically cause chaos. All of this chaos is a normal thing for a service-to-self entity to do, because what she's doing is dividing and conquering these people by getting them at each other's throats.
While you were there and early on, or during the time where you were in favour, can you remember any conversations she had where she ran down or character assassinated other employees, either still there while you were there?
Every day.
Or,
Every day she used employees against each other like toys. She would cause fights between employees against other employees. She constantly caused fights between Anandra and Cindy Beeman. Constantly she caused fights between myself and Diane. Just making up stories, telling us we had to go and convey a message, therefore causing tension. Just the stress alone of the job was enough, and then you have to confront your friend, and then that's just a whole nother realm.
When Kathleen was asked if Devra West actively tried to break up couples, including married couples, Kathleen gave an emphatic yes. And in the case of the whistleblower who asked the question, did that include him? Kathleen responded with yes. She claimed that John Watson, the whistleblower, made a pass at her, which she turned down, and because she turned down John Watson, he got angry, and that was the reason for him taking out a lawsuit against Devra West, which of course is a pack of lies. Kathleen goes on to talk about Barbara Costantino and Joseph Costantino, both of whom work for Devra West. Devra West stated that Joseph was abusive towards Barbara. Obviously another attempt to break that couple up. It should be pointed out, as this recording is made at the end of 2015, that both John Watson and his wife and Barbara and Joseph Costantino are still together. Evidence, if evidence was needed, that Devra Patton West is a pathological liar and a deeply disturbed, mentally ill person who basically needs to be locked away.
What about couples? Did you have any experience for trying to break up married couples or relationships?
Yes. Yeah, I've heard many comments from Devra concerning married people or people having a relationship.
What about myself?
Oh, yes.
No.
Yes.
We're talking about John Watson and Lisa Watson now.
Right.
To clarify.
She stated to me that you tried to seduce her. And
I tried to seduce Devra West.
Correct. And she turned you down, which then caused you to become angry, and you retaliated by gathering false information and starting this suit against her. It's because you're... No, it was Barbara.
Oh, right.
And Joseph.
She said what? What did she say?
What did she say about
She said
Barbara
and Joseph. Joseph was very abusive to Barbara, that he was mind controlling. He would cause Barbara to be very submissive. Therefore, Barbara could not perform well at work because of the stress, and Devra was only trying to help Barbara escape Joseph.
Barbara didn't want that.
Sorry. Yeah, it's amazing the things that I saw and heard through the 3 months I was there.
Mm-hmm.
In this excerpt, Kathleen talks about Jack West's role in the organization. She starts off by saying that she doesn't know what he actually does, but that he has a lot of power in that his name is on everything and he signs everything, signs the checks. By the way, the charity's checkbook did not have the name of the charity on it. It just had Jack and Devra West on it. That's how blatant they were in mingling their own money with that of the charities. As with everybody else, of course, Devra West runs down Jack West, her husband at the time. According to Kathleen, he's very submissive in front of her. I think she humiliates Jack West and says, poor Jack, to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Anything about Jack? Her ex-husband?
Yeah.
Or
I've never really understood Jack West's connection to the company or exactly what he does there. Mm-hmm. I still don't know exactly what Jack does there.
Mm-hmm.
He has power, right?
Oh, he has power. He signs all the checks.
Sure.
Nothing goes on in that house that Jack does not know about. His name is on everything.
And the damage control he does?
Oh, yeah. Definite. Quality control.
And she abuses them, right?
Yeah, she's very verbally and
Making fun of people.
yeah, she demeans them.
as with Anandra?
Mm-hmm. Oh, character abuse, definite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Makes them get down.
She says he's an idiot.
Submissive.
She says that to people, right?
Oh, yeah.
She calls him an idiot all the time.
I know. Poor Jack. Yeah. That's what she says. Poor Jack. He's so stupid. But God only gave him brains.
In the next excerpt, Kathleen acknowledges that Devra West probably does know that she has to declare her worldwide income to the IRS, but seriously doubts whether she does. She also doubts the relationship that the bookkeeper, Cheryl O'Brien, has with Devra West, in the sense that, unlike many others, Cheryl O'Brien has been there a long time and weathered lots of storms. And the inference is that Cheryl O'Brien is maybe hiding money for her. She's certainly shredding documents and getting rid of a paper trail in case there is an investigation. Kathleen also speaks to the fact that Cheryl O'Brien is inserting documents into files. Now, these insertions may just be Devra West leaving a paper trail with hindsight. That is to say, an employee leaves under dubious circumstances, and then Devra West goes back months before and inserts emails or documents into the file where she purported to have given warnings about that employee, which of course she didn't. The other way these documents may have been inserted into the file is just outright fraud, where Miss West is inserting fictitious loans into the accountancy trail, which at some point in the future she's going to use to justify her taking the property away from the charity and or all its other assets, which amount to some millions of dollars. Clearly there were some documents they wanted to get rid of, because Kathleen talks about how Esther Michaels, the then manager for Miss West, had bought a shredder and then told Cheryl O'Brien and Jack West and others to shred certain documents that they obviously didn't want the authorities to find.
Do you think that she's aware that, like all Americans, she should declare all of her worldwide income on a tax return? Do you think she's aware of that?
Oh, I'm sure she's aware of it. Whether she does it or not is a whole nother thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Who do you
there's.
think's helping her hide her money?
I think that definitely Cheryl O'Brien has an interest in this company, that she's benefiting at some point or another. She's been there for way too long and has weathered way too many abusive storms.
And she does things like take and hide things.
Yeah, they've destroyed documents. They have falsified documents. They have inserted documents into files. They have. They recently bought a shredder, and Esther and Jack came back from the store, and I was there late working, and Esther told Cheryl to go through and destroy the documents in the shredder that needed to be destroyed.
What kind of documents?
That I don't know, but they were confidential documents. I'm sure of it. So it's hard to say where they were kept in the beginning. But I don't believe they're kept on site.
No.
They're not kept on the land.
So that would either be with Jack West or with Cheryl.
Yes. Or Anandra.
No.
To review the rest of this material, please move on to the next YouTube video in this series.